In Dalton, Creative Arts Guild is stepping up opportunities for writers and publishers in Northwest Georgia. Dana Shavin is the new program coordinator for literary arts at the Guild. Dana, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Ray.
Tell us a bit more about your background as an artist here in Chattanooga and the Tennessee Valley.
I actually moved here right after graduate school in, I think it was 1984, and started working for the mental health system and did that for about 7 years, left to become a full-time artist, did the art festival circuit for about 15 years. But the whole time I actually was a wannabe writer. And so I was always submitting to literary journals and wanting to do freelance writing and things like that. And so soon after I quit my job, I actually got a position at the Chattanooga Times-Free Press as a monthly columnist. So I have been doing that now for almost 24 years.
And another thing you've done along the way is work with the Creative Arts Guild in Dalton. Talk more about that.
Yeah, so actually this is kind of a full circle moment for me, because when I left my career in mental health to become an artist, my very first art show was at Dalton, was at their outdoor festival. I worked with them for a little while on their grassroots grant program and things like that. But that was really it. I taught a few art classes. But coming full circle, I actually went to the Guild to meet with David George, who is the curator of their gallery down there, to see about having a show of my house sculptures. And while I was there, I was kind of looking around and remembering, my time there. And I remembered, they have a culinary arts program, a theater arts program, visual arts, ballet, and I thought, well, why don't they have a literary arts program? And they actually had a writers group many, many years ago that was a very active and engaged writers group. And, things happen, people move on, things fall away, and so that had not been active in a while. And so I met with Amanda Brown, the executive director at the Guild, and I said, what do you think about starting up a literary arts program here? And she said, we've always wanted to do that. We were just waiting for you to come along, which was very nice. So I've designed a program, very ambitious program, and we are starting little by little to implement that program now. So it's very exciting.
Give us a few examples of what you've done so far.
Yeah, so far, we started out having a reading of just some regional writers. We did that one night last summer, about a year ago. And then I proposed the idea of a facilitated writers group, which would be a writers group where I would be the facilitator to sort of keep it moving smoothly and keep people on task and things like that. And so we started that, I think about 4 to 6 months ago. And it was amazing because as soon as we sent the letter out that we were starting this facilitated writers group, people came out of the woodwork. And it's been full ever since. And we've been steadily getting new members in the group. I think we're getting ready probably to start a second group. So it meets twice a month. So that's been very exciting. I have a whole bunch of workshops in the works. So a lot of stuff coming up. This month we've got creative nonfiction with Sybil Baker. Sybil is a UTC professor, also runs the Meacham Writers Workshop. So she's going to come down and teach a workshop. I've got an Enneagram workshop coming, which is character development using the Enneagram with Karen Poole, who is an Enneagram certified instructor. Science fiction writing with Andrew Nyberg, who's also a UTC professor. Graphic novel writing with a guy named Jonathan Worth, who writes graphic novels, really interesting stuff. I've got a science fiction camp for kids coming up. And also Sherry Poff, who is a writer in Chattanooga, going to teach some interesting classes on mapping your memories to write a personal narrative. And then starting in the fall, we're going to start a literary arts series that'll probably run once a month. We'll have readings by local and regional writers and authors. And so, for example, new book authors who want to come do book signings and read from their work. Also, literary adjacent events, like I've spoken to Allison Gerber and Mark Kennedy at the Times-Free Press about coming down and talking about the challenges of covering the news. So that's going to be something. I want to get Clay Bennett down there to talk about political cartooning. So just a lot of stuff in the works. And the wonderful thing about Amanda and the Guild is that you just say, I want to do blank, and they go, yes, how can we make that happen? It's just great.
You've talked a bit already about who you're planning to bring in that might not have come down to Dalton without this type of program. Who else are you looking to bring down there? And who are you also trying to attract to come to these events beyond folks that are already in that scene here in Chattanooga?
I had a writer reach out to me earlier in the year from Israel who wanted to know if she could come. She was coming to do a book tour, and she wanted to come down. There are a lot of people that are close by in Atlanta. There's a very active Atlanta writers group with a lot of authors down there. I'd like to reach out to them. So just trying to figure out who we can bring in, offer a stipend of some kind. The program is new, so I don't have that piece in place yet, but that's what we would like to do. So the Dalton community is incredibly supportive. When we had that first reading, it was pouring down rain, and my husband and I were driving down from Chattanooga, and I was like, oh, there's not going to be anybody there. This is going to be terrible. I can't believe I'm putting myself through it, And it was a big crowd. I was so excited. I just couldn't believe it. Second reading, again, a big crowd. So I would like to continue to appeal to the Dalton community, but also Dalton's not that far from Chattanooga. There's a little bit of traffic here and there, but we are hoping that if we make it worth your while, people from Chattanooga will come and get engaged, get in on these workshops that are being offered. I've also reached out to the Cartersville area writers group and the Canton writers group, and I have spoken with the people at the Atlanta Writers Guild. So I'm really trying to get a whole radius of people involved and engaged.
And for people who want to learn more, keep up to date, they can go online to the Creative Arts Guild's website, creativeartsguild.org. For people who want to keep up on all that you do, where can they go online?
I have a website, danashavin.com. You can see my complete publishing history there. I'm also a publishing coach, so I like to help writers get published. And you can follow me on Facebook at Dana Shavin Writes.
All right, Dana, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray.